especially.
Hello, Ray Phoenix here, welcome to Let's Play Star Wars Battlefront 2 Part 5. So it looks like some of those Kaminoans that created the original clones have turned against the Empire. Of course they're going to turn against the Empire, and of course they're going to use their signature soldier class or soldier type against the Empire. Clones, they're breeding clones to fight against the Empire, a whole unique breed of clones. So of course they're going to make us team up with the biggest wuss in the entire Star Wars saga, Boba Fett. He's a character we very seldom see in the Star Wars movies, simply because he's a wuss. If we saw more of him, we'd realize how big of a wuss he is, and he wouldn't have as many Star Wars appearances anymore. He doesn't really have much appearances at all. He's even a bigger wuss than the Jedi. We thought Jedi were some of the biggest wusses in the entire Star Wars saga. Boba Fett is worse. He can't even do a job properly. He can't even blow down a lock on a door properly. That's how big of a wuss he is. He's so wussy, in fact, they need stormtroopers to take it on. They only give us 10 frickin' troops this time around. Just 10 troops. We're supposed to be like the Empire that rules the galaxy. We can't even spare enough troops to take on a single clone rebellion. This Empire is destined to fail. This Empire is probably going to fail eventually. Some rebels are probably going to take a stand against us and easily destroy us at some point. It seems likely that we're probably all going to get killed. Every single member of the Empire is going to get killed, but there isn't really much of an Empire. Can you even really call us an Empire? We don't even really have any troops at all. We don't really have much of anything really at all. We just have just a few stormtroopers and a few other. Oh, there we go. Just got a little boost of 100 troops. Okay, that's a little bit better now, but still, I mean, you still think the Empire could just pretty much bum rush this entire place, like what they do in that Empire at War game, where they just bum rush entire maps filled with fill them with a bunch of different troops and just send them after them and completely obliterate them. There's actually strategy in that game. You can actually choose, I want this troop sent here, this place heavily fortified. Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron did that in the conquest mode, where you could actually like choose where you want your troops to be sent to. Kind of almost comes like Risk, almost like a Star Wars version of Risk. Of course, Risk is a game that's usually played indoors by 12-year-olds and sometimes played outdoors by 45-year-olds that are still into Star Wars and don't realize that they're not 12 years old anymore. And so this game is still pretty much well enjoyed by pretty much all Star Wars fans. And there are some Star Wars fans that don't really like Battlefront 2 that much, but I really like Battlefront 2. I still have to consider it's one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made. I already spoke of that before, but sometimes I think this game can be a little bit overrated sometimes. I mean, there were some other great Star Wars games out there, like Shadows of the Empire and the Star Wars arcade game from Atari. That was a really good game. And then there was the Rogue Squadron game. Some people say the Rogue Squadron game. I mean, this game is definitely a lot better than Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3. I'm not going to lie about that. Rogue Squadron 3 was kind of a disappointing game that gets boring quickly. I actually do like Rogue Squadron 2 a lot more. I did a Let's Play the first Rogue Squadron a long time ago, but I likely would like to do a Rogue Squadron 2 Let's Play if my recording software, if my recording devices want me to do a Let's Play of that, I likely would. I would have to use an actual GameCube for that, though, since I haven't really found a proper ISO runs on that can emulate properly on my Dolphin emulator. And it doesn't really run very well. Then again, some good GameCube games are like hit or miss. Some don't work very well, and some work perfectly fine. In fact, a lot of GameCube games actually run perfectly fine on my computer, so I guess that's pretty good. So I could do more GameCube Let's Plays eventually. And this game never got released on the GameCube for some reason. It only came out on PS2 and Xbox, because these people don't seem to like GameCube users that much. At least it got released on PS2, which is how I'm ultimately able to play this game. I'm surprised they didn't just make this an Xbox exclusive sometimes. I think the Xbox may have sold a lot better if it had games like these as exclusives. Exclusives are what make systems sell. So we just need to take control of our platform, I think. There's a turret there we could take control of. But I'll control, but I don't think it could aim to what we're trying to hit. But we're trying to take another command post. I think it's another command post to try and take us. Pretty much every goal. The goals and objectives in this game are almost redundant. Just take this command post, take this. A lot of times they could have just left it like it was in the original Star Wars Battlefront. They probably just didn't want to just simply copy the original Star Wars Battlefront again. And the only types of clones these Kaminoans seem to have, they seem to have jet troopers, and they try to make them look significantly different from the clone troopers we knew before in this game. So they made them look like the ones from Star Wars Episode 2. These are Star Wars Episode 2 designs that we saw. I think we did see them in the same game, but we really saw them in the training level. There's a training level in this game. I skipped it because I think training's completely useless since I'm already a master at this game. There's a training level where you actually play the Battle of Geonosis. It's just like the one from Star Wars Battlefront 1, the Battlefront 1 Geonosis. Well, it's actually quite different, but it is like on Geonosis, and you can actually play as Mace Windu, I think, in that battle. And the clones don't look like the clones in all the other levels. They actually use different models. They actually use the Episode 2 Attack of the Clones models for the clones. I think it's the only level in the game where they actually use the Episode 2 clone designs. Anyway, for the rest of them, because for pretty much every other Clone Wars battle this game, they always use the Episode 3 clone designs, which makes sense because this game came out after Star Wars Episode 3, and Star Wars Episode 3 was really milked by this game. This game supposedly came out around the same time the Xbox 360 came out. It supposedly came out around November 22nd, which is a date that has a lot of significance. It's a very disturbing date, considering the fact that in 1963 was the day JFK was murdered. It was also the day C.S. Lewis died. In 1987, it was the day Max Headroom interrupted that TV show. It was Doctor Who on PBS, got interrupted by Max Headroom in 1987, and also November 22nd, 2005 was the day that compact desktop computer that ran Windows 10 was manufactured. And oddly enough, it had a Windows Vista sticker on it saying that it could run Windows Vista, which wouldn't come out for more than a year after that. It's almost like the people who made that thing knew the future. I mean, it's another case of, people that can predict the future, that know that I'm pretty sure people can predict the future. Or there's people that, know about the future right now, that know to make things based on the future, like predicting the future. I don't think anyone in this game knows how to predict the future, or maybe they do, I don't know. So we're playing as Boba Fett, and look at that, we're going after more jet troopers. It's starting to get a little more sophisticated, because they're using what looks like those chain gun troopers. I don't know what you call them. I think they're called clone commanders or something like that. Those troops that have the chain guns on us, and they're using chain guns, which are a pretty effective weapon. If you know how to use a chain gun, that is. I've never been great at using the chain gun, so I don't really use a chain gun that much. And look at that, Boba Fett is, of course, still a wuss. He's gonna run away, of course, because he's the biggest wuss in Star Wars. That's probably why his TV show got canceled prematurely and didn't really get that high ratings. I hear Disney Star Wars isn't really doing that well, but I wouldn't know because I don't have a Disney Plus account anymore. I haven't had one in like 3 years, so I haven't really watched much Disney Plus or Disney Star Wars stuff, because, Star Wars is just becoming oversaturated. I wish we had more new original stuff. Imagine a game like this if it didn't have the Star Wars IP. What would it be like? It would probably just be some generic, space war game of these space soldiers, kind of like what Master Chief from Halo is, going against some evil group of evil space terrorists or some sort of space war or something like that. It may even be painted as a picture where there are no good guys or bad guys. They're both bad guys fighting against each other, or maybe they're good, different types of heroes that go against each other. Could definitely be something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's already done that, though. It seems like such an obvious idea. Maybe someone hasn't done anything like that. I mean, jumping Flash sequels beyond the third game seem like obvious ideas, but no one's clearly done those. Same with Ape Escape games beyond the third game in the series. No one's done those before either. I guess Battlefront is kind of also stuck in stuck in time kind of thing, where there was never any other sequels after the second game, because it technically was. I mean, technically is a Battlefront 3. It was Battlefront Elite Squadron. There were a few odd Battlefront games after this. This series never really had anything more after just the 2 games. And they tried making a reboot of them, but I heard that wasn't that good. I never played any of those reboots, mostly because the reboots or the remake, what do you call them? The new Battlefront games, the Battlefront from 2015 and the one from 2017 Battlefront. I never played those. That's mostly because I don't own any next-gen consoles. So of course I never have played those before. And so, of course, there's a lot of laser blast battles, a lot of laser fire, blaster fire. I remember my mom watching me watch stuff like this on YouTube back in the day, saying, "Oh, why are you watching this when you have the game?" I said, "Well, none of this is in the PSP version of the game," which is the only version I had at the time. And I used this to successfully convince my parents that the PS2 version of this game is by means far superior to the PSP version, and the PSP version sucks, and that I could just throw it out. And in fact, it almost destroyed my PSP a few times. It's more the reason for me to destroy Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then I remember ripping it out of the PSP and throwing it aside. And my mom's like, "Do you want me to throw that out for you? Do you want me to destroy that for you so you can never play it again?" I'm like, "Go ahead. I don't want to play it again anymore after what it's done." I don't think there was really any excuse for the PSP version to be that primitive. I mean, there's other PSP games that came out in 2005 that had a lot more. Like Wipeout Pure had a lot of content, and that came out in 2005. What else came out? Like, there's other, I know there was like Twisted Metal Head On came out in 2005, and that was rich of content. That was a very rich content game, so it was possible for me to make a game like that on the PSP in 2005. And so there was no real excuse. It was just pure laziness. The PSP version sucked, and the PS2 version's a lot better. Even then, the PS2 version sometimes looks a little bit dated compared to other games. I mean, when I looked at PS2 graphics way back in the day, I always thought they were the best graphics imaginable. Like, whoa, I can never imagine graphics looking much better than this. This is lifelike. And then I see PS3 and it's like, okay, this is better. This is, okay, now this is the best graphics could ever get. Then no, years later, PS4 comes out and it's like, no, this is the best graphics get. And then, PS5, I haven't really played. I've never really seen much PS5 games. They kind of look the same as PS4 games to me. I think now we might be finally at that part where graphics can't get any better. But of course, we said that tons of times before in the past, and we've always been wrong. We've always been proven wrong sometime way later. So I guess history is just repeating itself. There probably will be something better than PS5 graphics. Will probably involve virtual reality or some sort of like fake, realistic but fake environment kind of thing. Or maybe we're going to backtrack a bit and go to less realistic graphics so people will realize that realistic graphics can actually be quite creepy sometimes. And sometimes it's better to have graphics that are not the most realistic, and it actually kind of helps us separate reality from the game that we're playing. Actually, it's like a fine line between reality and the game. And it helps us separate what's real and what's not. Maybe that's why so many people have, I don't know, maybe that's why some people can't distinguish reality from fiction. I've had teachers in school that can't really decipher reality from fiction or something like that. So much, in fact, that people like that would think Luke Skywalker's holiday should be a national holiday where we celebrate Luke Skywalker, because if he never blew up the Death Star, we never would have, the Empire would have invaded us, and we would be under the rule of the Empire, which may arguably be better considering how our world is always going to hell all the time. And so I think we just, oh yeah, this is the end of the level. We're near the end of the level. And this is almost like, because so far most of these levels have some kind of boss at the end of them. This is kind of like the boss of this level, where instead of going against a specific character or a specific person thing, we actually have to go against a gunship. We have to destroy 2 Republic gunships that they're using in this war. Or we could destroy, it would be easy if Boba Fett could do that first, but of course Boba Fett's a wuss. He's a wuss and just runs away without getting paid, so we're probably not going to pay him. He doesn't deserve to get paid. He just ran here for 5 seconds and ran away like a wimpy coward that he is. I could aim it right there. It's kind of hard to see, but it is in the far off distance there. If I could aim it, yeah, it really does require precise aiming, kind of like using a sniper rifle almost. Oh, look at that. This gun would suck in a fight because in a gunfight because of how slow the recharge rate is. One friend said, I would use a gun like that in a simple gunfight with other people, like a simple gun battle with other people. Yeah, but it recharges so slow, so you would get killed easy because you can't shoot fast enough with that thing, and that's a pathetically slow recharge rate. And so there's one more gunship. You really have to know where it's going to be. It's really hard to make precise hits. I don't think these rocket launchers, these rocket blasts that come out, or whatever they call the space bazooka, like from Star Trek Deep Space, and I don't think it has any heat. I don't think they're heat-seeking missiles, nor are they homing missiles or anything like that. So you really have to precisely know where it's going to be. I can lock onto as much as I can, but I don't oh, there, I got a small hit on it. Clearly didn't hit it fully, because before I gave it a good, clean out hit when it was at full health to the other one, and it destroyed almost all of it. There we go, I think I destroyed it. Endurance, it always says that when you complete objectives. Endurance, objective complete. I think that's the end of the battle. I think we just about won. Did we win? Yes, of course we won. We always win. These clones are some of the dumbest rebels we ever went against. I guess when you clone something so many times over, it just gets dumber, dumber, and dumber.
The bounty hunter left after the battle was over.
Of course he left. He's a wimpy coward.
Tracking down a smuggler on Tatooine. After the Camino uprising, the Emperor decided that an army
Guess this is why they eventually just stopped using clones in general. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.